All right, thanks, guys. We have ourselves a massive slate of NBA action here today, so let's go ahead and dive into it. This is going to be a long video, so you may just want to skip to the quick pick recap, but if you're on the road, we certainly have a lot of information for you. My brain's about to explode. So anyway, let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to start with Memphis taking on Denver, 5 o'clock Eastern tip-off in the Mile High City. The Nuggets are the 9-point favorite, total at 217.5. Now we saw a 1-point fade of Denver and movement upward on the total. The Nuggets open as the 10-point favorite, down to -9. Total open 217, up to 217 and a hook. 55% of the consensus are leaning toward Denver. 51% shaded toward the over. And right now the Grizzlies are plus 370 on the money line. Now, Memphis ranks in the bottom 5 in points allowed, bottom 5 in defensive three-point percentage. They're just 12 and 20 overall for the year, 4th place in the Southwest Division. They're also 9.5 games back of the division lead. Andre Iguodala still out indefinitely for the Grizz. Now, Denver on the other side starting to heat up a little bit here. 7-1 straight up in their last 9, 13-4 straight up at home. They rank in the top 3 in points allowed, top 3 in defending the 3-ball. Nikola Jokic, 18 points a game, 10 rebounds, 7 assists. Jamal Murray, 18 points a game, 5 assists. And Will Barton, 14 points per contest, 7 rebounds on average per game. They're in first place in the Northwest Division, 21-9 straight up overall for the year, 2.5 games ahead of Utah for the division lead. Now, total-wise, Denver's 11-6 to the under on their home court. Memphis 9-5 to the under when traveling. I'm going to lean Denver -9 and the under 217.5 in that contest. Next game, Pacers, Pelicans, 7 o'clock, New Orleans. The Pacers are -1, total 219. Saw a flip of the lines in this one as Indiana opened as the 1.5-point underdog. We also saw movement downward on the total. So once again, Indiana open plus 1.5, now -1. Total open 219.5, down to 219 even. 68% are leaning Pacers, 64% shaded toward the over. Right now, the Pelicans are plus 102 on the money line. The Pelicans have also dropped 7 out of their last 10 games. They're tied for the fewest wins in the Western Conference. They're just 9-23 overall for the year, 12.5 games back in the division. They're also ranking in the bottom 3 in points allowed, bottom 10 in defensive rebounding. They've won just 4 out of their 15 home games this year, where they went just 6-9 against the spread in those 15. They're in the bottom 10 in offensive field goal percentage at home, bottom 3 in points allowed at home. They're giving up 117 points per contest in New Orleans. Now, the Pacers on the other side, winners in 6 out of their last 8. They're also 6-2 against the spread in those 8 games. They're in the top 10 in offensive field goal percentage, top 5 in offensive three-point percentage. Now, Malcolm Brogdon is listed as questionable for tonight's action, but he is responsible for 18 points per contest, 5 rebounds, 8 assists. TJ Warren, 18 points a game, 4 rebounds. And Domantas Sabonis, 17 points a game, 13 rebounds for the Pacers. Indiana's top 10 in points allowed, top 10 in defensive rebounding on the road. They're also 60% to the under in their last 10. New Orleans 5-0 to the under in their last 5 themselves. I'm going to lean Pacers -1 and the under 219 in that contest. Next game, Raptors, Celtics, 7 o'clock, Boston. Boston's -6.5, total 215 and a hook. 1-point fade of Boston and movement downward on the total. The Celtics open 7.5, down to -6.5. Total open 216, down to 215 and a hook. 58% are leaning Celtics, 71% toward the over. Right now, Toronto's plus 220 on the money line. Gasol, Powell, and Siakam still out indefinitely for Toronto. They've lost their last 2 straight games. They're also just 7-7 against the spread on the road. They rank dead last in defensive rebounding, bottom 5 in defensive field goal percentage on the road. Now, Boston on the other side, winners in 8 out of their last 10. They're also 13-1 straight up at home. They're in first place in the Atlantic Division, 22-7 overall, 2 games ahead of this very Toronto squad in the division. Kemba Walker's averaging 22 points a game, 5 assists. Jason Tatum, 22 points a game, 7 rebounds. And Jaylen Brown, 21 points a game, 7 boards for him. Marcus Smart is listed as questionable for the Celtics. Despite that, though, they're still top 3 in points allowed, top 10 in home scoring. They're allowing just 104 points per game at the Garden. Now, Boston's 3-0 to the over in their last 3, 5-2 to the over in their last 7. Give me the Celtics minus 6.5 and the over 215.5 in that game. Before we go ahead and move on, just want to remind you quickly to check me out on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage. Next game, it is going to be Brooklyn taking on the Rockets, 8 o'clock Eastern tip-off in Houston. The Rockets open minus 10, down to 9.5. Total open 233, up to 233.5. 58% are leaning Houston, 54% on the over. Brooklyn's plus 415. Brooklyn's 60% against the spread in their last 10. Top 3 in offensive rebounding. Spencer Dinwiddie's averaging 23 points a game, 6 assists. Joe Harris, 15 points a game, 4 rebounds. Brooklyn ranks at the top 3 in defensive field goal percentage, top 10 in road scoring, top 3 in road offensive rebounding. Rockets on the other side covering just 40% of their games in their last 10. They're also just 6-8 against the spread at home. Eric Gordon's out. Clint Capella is doubtful. Houston ranks in the bottom 10 in points allowed, bottom 10 in defensive rebounding at home. Now, 2 out of the Rockets' last couple of games did stay under the total. They're also 4-2 to the under in their last 6. Brooklyn 6-3 to the under in their last 9. I'm going to purchase the half a point, buy it up, and take Brooklyn plus 10 and the under 233.5 in that contest. Next game, Atlanta taking on Chicago, 8 o'clock, Windy City. Chicago open 8.5, up to minus 9. Total open 218, down to 216 and a hook. 52% are leaning Chicago, 71% shaded toward the under. Thanks. And right now, Atlanta's plus 415 on the money line. Atlanta, right in the middle of a 9-game losing streak, worst record in the NBA at just 6-26 on the year. Len and Parker are questionable. Young is out. Atlanta's 2-7 against the spread in their last 9. Bottom 3 in offensive rebounding. Top 3 in points allowed. Chicago 3-2 straight up in their last 5. 7-2 against the spread in their last 9. Zach LaVine's questionable. Lauri Markkanen and Wendell Carter are questionable as well. Total-wise, Chicago 4-3 to the over in their last 7. Atlanta 13-4 to the over when traveling. I'm going to lean Chicago minus 9 and the over 216.5 in that contest. Next game, Cavaliers taking on the T-Wolves, 8 o'clock, Minnesota. The T-Wolves open 6, up to 6.5. Total open 221.5, up to 222. 53% are leaning Minnesota, 54% toward the under. Right now, Cleveland is plus 225 on the money line. They're also 3-1 straight up in their last 4. 3-0 against the spread in their last trio of ball games. They rank in the top 10 in defensive rebounding. Colin Sexton's averaging 18 points a game. Kevin Love, 17 a game, 11 rebounds. And Tristan Thompson, 13 points a game, 10 boards for him. Minnesota, 1-9 straight up in their last 10. 20% against the spread in those 10 games. They're just 3-10 straight up at home. Bottom 5 in points allowed. Karl Anthony Towns is questionable. Cleveland, 2-0 to the over in their last 2. 5-2 to the over in their last 7. Give me Cleveland plus 7 after buying the half a point. And the over 222 in that game. Next matchup, Sixers, Heat, 8 o'clock, Miami. The Heat open minus 1, up to 1.5. Total open 213.5, down to 213 even. 53% on the Heat, 66% on the over. Philadelphia's plus $1.10 on the money line. Philly's also just 3-4 straight up in their last 7. 40% against the spread in their last 10. They're ranked in the bottom 5 in offensive free throw percentage on the road. Bottom 10 in defending the 3-ball on the road. They're just 7-9 straight up when traveling, 6-10 against the spread in those 16 games. Miami, 4-game winning streak for them, 5-3 against the spread in their last 8. Jimmy Butler's averaging 20 points a game, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, and 2 steals. Kendrick Nunn, 16 points a game, 4 assists. And Goran Dragic, 16 points a game, 5 assists. This Miami team is 14-1 straight up at home, 11-4 against the spread in those games. They're also 8-1 to the over in their last 9, 10-5 to the over at home. 7 out of Philly's last 9 got over the number as well. Give me the Miami Heat minus 1.5 and the over 213 in that contest. Next game, Knicks, Wizards, 8 o'clock, Washington. The Knicks open minus 3, down to minus 2. Total open 230, down to 228.5. 54% on Washington, 55% on the over. Washington is plus $1.40 on the money line. Bradley Beal's averaging 28 points a game, 7 assists. He is listed as questionable for tonight's action. Davis Bertans, he's out. Thomas Bryant, Isaiah Thomas, and Mo Wagner, they're all out as well. And despite Bradley Beal averaging a ton of points, we're not sure if he's going to play. Washington, they're just 9-21 straight up overall for the year, 2-8 against the spread in their last 10. Bottom 3 in offensive rebounding, bottom 3 in points allowed. Now the Knicks on the other side, believe it or not, 5-3 against the spread in their last 8. They also rank in the top 10 in road offensive rebounding, 9-7 against the spread when traveling. Marcus Morris, 19 points a game, 6 rebounds. Julius Randle, 18 points a game, 9 boards for him. Now, total-wise, we're looking at a New York squad who went 5-3 to the over in their last 8. 7 out of Washington's last 9 got over the total as well. Give me the Knicks -2 and the over 228.5 in that contest. Next game, Mavericks taking on the Warriors. 8:30 Eastern tip-off in Golden State. The Mavs open 10.5 up to -11. Total open 219 down to 218 and a hook. 61% are leaning Dallas, 52% toward the under. Right now, Golden State's plus 510 on the money line. Golden State starting to heat up a little bit. Right in the middle of a 4-game winning streak, 4-0 against the spread in those 4 victories. They rank in the top 3 shooting from the stripe, 9-7 against the spread at home. D'Angelo Russell, he's averaging 23 points a game, 6 assists. Alec Burks, 16 points a game, 5 rebounds. And Eric Pascal, 15 points a game, 5 rebounds. He is listed as questionable. Probably will see him in action tonight. Now, Dallas has failed to cover in 3 out of their last 4. They're also just 3-5 against the spread in their last 8. 10 out of the Mavs' last 14 did get over the total. I'm going to lean Golden State plus 11 in the over 218.5 in that contest. Next game, Pistons, Spurs, 8:30 San Antonio. The Spurs open 4.5 up to -5. Total open 222 up to 222 and a hook. 59% are leaning San Antonio, 54% toward the over. Right now, Detroit is plus $1.80 on the money line. They also rank in the top 10 in offensive field goal percentage, top 3 in shooting the 3 ball. Andre Drummond is averaging 18 points a game and 16 rebounds. He's also averaging 2 steals and 2 blocks a game. Derrick Rose, yes, he's still in the league, and he's averaging 16 points a game, 6 assists. Blake Griffin, 16 points per contest, 5 rebounds for him. San Antonio, on the other side, one of the worst covering teams in the association. Out of their 16 home games, they've successfully covered the point spread in just 4 of them. They're also just 10-20 against the spread overall for the year. Bottom 10 in points allowed on average per game. Bottom 10 in home offensive, just kidding. Bottom 10 in home defensive rebounding. Now, total-wise, San Antonio, 70% to the over in their last 10. 3 out of Detroit's last 3 got over the number as well. I'm going to lean Pistons plus 5 and the over 222.5 in that contest. Next game, Magic, Bucks, 8:30 Milwaukee. The Bucks are the 11-point favorite, total at 218. We saw the half a point fade of Milwaukee and movement downward on the total. The Bucks open 11.5 down to -11. Total open 219 down to 218. 64% are leaning Milwaukee, 59% shaded toward the over. Right now, Orlando is plus 500 on the money line. They're also just 4-11 straight up when traveling. Bottom 3 in scoring. They're averaging 104 points per contest on the road. They're also bottom 10 in home offensive rebounding. Milwaukee 8-2 straight up in their last 10, 28-5 overall for the year. Out of their 17 home games, they've been victorious in 15 of them. They rank first in scoring, first in offensive rebounding. Orlando 5-2 to the over in their last 7, 9-6 to the over when traveling. I'm going to lean Milwaukee -11 and the over 218 in that game. Next matchup, Phoenix taking on the Kings, 9 o'clock Sacramento. The Kings open 1.5 up to -2. Total open 219.5 down to 218 and a hook. 58% are on Sacramento, 61% on the over. Right now the Suns are plus $1.15 on the money line. I like Sacramento in this spot here. Give me the Kings -2 and the under 218.5 in that game. Next matchup, Lakers, Blazers, 10 o'clock Portland. The Lakers open 4 up to -5. Total open 225 down to 224. 59% on the Lakers, 61% on the over. Portland's plus $1.75 on the money line. Give me the Lakers -5 and the under 224 in that game. Next and final matchup, Utah taking on the Clippers, 10:30 Staples Center. The Clippers are 8.5, total 221. Half a point move toward LA and movement upward on the total. Clippers open 8, up to 8.5. Total open 219, up to 221. 52% on the Clippers, 66% on the over. Right now, Utah is plus 335 on the money line. Give me the Clippers minus 8.5 and the under 221 in that game. All right, let's go ahead and dive into our quick pick recap. Once again, brought to you by patreon.com/BrockPage, where we do daily premium picks on that website, beginning at just $1.99 per month. I like the Clippers minus 8.5 under 221. Lakers minus 5 under 224. Sacramento minus 2 under 218.5. Milwaukee minus 11 over 218. Detroit plus 5 over 222.5. Golden State plus 11 over 218 and a hook. Miami minus 1.5 over 213. Knicks minus 2 over 228.5. Cleveland plus 7 over 222. Brooklyn plus 10 under 233 and a hook. Chicago minus 9 over 216.5. Boston minus 6.5 over 215 and a hook. Indiana minus 1 under 219. Last but not least, I like Denver minus 9 under 217.5. And of course, we're going to slide into our Spanish edition, also known as Edición en Español. Yo tengo Clippers menos 8.5 y los bajos. Lakers menos 5 y los bajos. Sacramento menos 2 y los bajos. Milwaukee menos 11 y las altas. Detroit con puntos y las altas. Golden State con puntos y las altas. Miami menos 1.5 y las altas. Nueva York menos 2 y las altas. Cleveland con puntos y las altas. Brooklyn con puntos y los bajos. Chicago menos 9 y las altas. Boston menos 6.5 y las altas. Indiana menos 1 y los bajos. Y final, Denver menos 9 y los bajos.